After an exciting stop in Portland, Oregon, we are making the trip south all the way to Austin, Texas, where voters are considering a measure that would help meet the transit and mobility needs of one of the fastest growing cities in the country. This measure would prioritize equity, sustainability, and economic growth, and would provide new rail lines, bus rapid transit, and even $300 million in anti-displacement funds. We are thrilled to welcome to the bus Mykle Tomlinson, the manager for Austin's Transit Now campaign. Mykle, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Josh. Glad to be here.
So this measure has been in the works for a couple of years now. Tell us about it. What's included?
And we've got a little bit of everything. We have three new rail lines, one going to the airport, through downtown, through North Austin, South Austin, East Austin. We have expanded bus service, BRT, and rapid bus. We have an all-electric bus fleet. We have a downtown tunnel. We have $300 million for affordable housing and anti-displacement strategies. We have 15 neighborhood circulators. We have 9 new park and rides. So we tried to really be inclusive and make sure that we got this one right.
That's awesome. This isn't the first time that Austin has proposed a measure, right? You've done this a few times in the past. How are you making this time different?
Well, this time we have had extensive community input. We have made sure that everyone in the community has been engaged and thoroughly considered throughout the entire process. Mm-hmm. And Pat Metro has just done a great job of putting together a plan that just reaches, so many people in the city.
So that's all well and good. We're in the middle of a pandemic, though. Why in your wildest dreams would you decide right now to move forward with a measure that would raise people's taxes to use a service that a lot of people aren't using as much at the moment?
So I think a couple of things. One is this is a generational election coming up. Everyone in the city of Austin will have a voice in this. They're going to vote anyway, and we thought that this on a campaign level was our best move to make sure that the entire city is included in the decision making. 2 is Austin is still growing even during a pandemic. People are still moving here. We still have traffic. 2 weeks ago, we were at 80% of our pre-COVID levels of traffic. That was before school had started back. So I was looking out my window here. I can see that we're probably getting pretty close to where we were at the beginning of COVID, and it's not going to stop. We have new businesses coming here, folks moving, and if we don't do it now, it'll never get done. So right now is the time. I think one last thing is that there is no better time than during an economic downturn to invest in our community and put people back to work. And Project Connect will do all of those things.
That sounds like it. So you've talked a little bit about the policy itself. You've talked about the process of creating the plan and adding stakeholders and coalition members. Talk about the campaign itself and how you went about creating the vehicle that's going to persuade Austin voters that this is the plan that they should pass and that they should do it right now.
Sure. So, I mean, we started over a year ago with an education effort. We got a little derailed during the first part of this year. So when we went into the PAC, we knew that it was going to be super important to have community buy-in. At this point, we have, I believe, 65 community organizations, over 40 elected officials and community leaders that are on board, and just built a very large grassroots kind of campaign, right? Right now, I'm seeing just crazy amounts of enthusiasm for Proposition A. I hate to measure my campaign and the amount of yard signs people have asked me for, but I've had to order a couple of times. We've had volunteers out doing lit drops, not block walking. We've had, the whole thing that you would have except canvassing, right? So that was going to be really important to us, whether we were in the middle of a pandemic or not. So I think that's number one. Number two is that we have some strong messages.
Mm-hmm.
Climate change, reducing traffic, and the $300 million that is included is a message that is really important to Austinites.
Mm-hmm.
It shows that there was thought put into it, that we have buy-in from all sectors of the community, and
Mm-hmm.
that really is a driving message of our campaign right now.
Excellent. If only yard signs could vote too.
I mean,
That
so
always helps. Uh, Without revealing trade secrets, without getting too much into confidential strategy, what voters are you targeting, and why?
So this election in Austin, and something that we've seen for the past 4 years since 2016, is that we have had a growing youth engagement, and by youth I'm talking under 40s. The University of Texas campus is very enthused and voting in every down ballot election, and
Mm-hmm.
off year elections. So motivating and GOTVing and making sure that they have all the information, young voters have all the information, has been a really important part of our campaign. The Democratic base here in Austin is also very strong, and that's that's a group that we got on board really early. And so building messages that resonate with younger and Democratic leaning voters has been super important to us getting out the vote.
I love all the transit puns, by the way. You are here for the conversation, and I love it. Um, the campaign itself is facing an opposition. It seems from everything we've seen that it is dishonest, but relatively well funded. What are you hearing, and how are you responding?
So I think one thing to know about our opposition is it's the same people that have been against everything in Austin for the past 15, 20 years. Well, they're well-known opponents. They're people that we have went up against. They have fought transit initiatives. They fought housing initiatives. They have fought homeless initiatives. They have fought everything, right? They want Austin to stay the way it was in the 70s, and that's not the city we are anymore. So I think that's our opposition. They're always going to have a base. They're always going to have a group of people that they speak to. But our goal is to reach new voters, is to reach younger voters, to reach people that are tired of sitting in their car all day, and want to spend more time with their families. So I think that the opposition is the opposition. I haven't spent a lot of time worrying or thinking or chasing about them as much as I think they want me to. But when it's all said and done, I think they'll spend their money, and our voters at the end of the day will bring us across the line.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, speaking of which, so you've done this before. We're in Texas right now. This isn't your first rodeo. What surprised you as a manager about this race so far?
So we're 3 days into early voting right now, and we're seeing massive lines. People are super enthusiastic, not just about getting out to vote, but about Prop A.
Mm-hmm.
I've had tons of people reach out to me that I would normally not think cares about a down ballot proposition, asking how they can get involved, what they can do, where to vote, how to vote. So I think we're ready for a change here, right? And so
Yeah.
I think that's the thing that has been really surprising to me, because I worked on the 2014 failed initiative. I was a student here in 2000 when that one went down. So I've kind of watched for the past 20 some odd years how this has evolved, and it really feels this time that things are very different.
Okay. Last question, and I think arguably the most important question of the entire conversation. What's the best barbecue in Austin, and why?
See, that's a problem, because if I pick one, then everyone gets mad at me about the other ones. So I will say that there's a tier of barbecue, and they're all really good. And if you come to Austin, we can go have all of them.
Well, that answer is both responsible and disappointing. When this is all over, I promise I will be down in Austin, and I look forward to a full tour.
That
Mykle, thank you for taking the time. Thank you for joining the bus. And as always, everyone, if you need anything from CFTE, don't hesitate to be in touch. Thanks very much.